who owned it when Prabhupada was here. His son now owns the property. And you'll see, I'll take you out into the courtyard and we can see that. But basically it's 2 shop fronts and then there's 26 apartments. So one of those apartments is Srila Prabhupada's apartment, which we don't have possession of. We don't even rent it. It's rented out to someone else. So we're still just renting this place. You know, our prayer is eventually one day we should completely, ISKCON should own it. There's a picture, but this was, we took repossession of it for rent from around the 90s, 1990. And we've been renting it since then. But last year in June, under the guidance of His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, who's really wanted to transform this place for about 10 or 15 years. Hare Krishna. He's with you? No? Okay. No. So then we underwent a massive renovation project. And so, Hare Krishna, welcome, please. You're all in town for the 60th anniversary?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah. Okay, we're just doing a little tour. You can offer obeisances and join in if you like.
Okay.
All right. So we underwent a massive renovation. This area is the exhibition area. And he wanted to start with this picture of Srila Prabhupada here. This is in his apartment out the back at 26 2nd Avenue, which is a really important place because that's where the first initiations took place. It's where the first wedding took place. It's where the first Sunday feast took place. Wow. It's where Mother Jamuna learned to cook from Srila Prabhupada. So it's really important. So it'd be wonderful for us to get that back. And Radhanath Maharaj's instruction to us now is to somehow figure out how we can also get that space. But this is Prabhupada there, 26 2nd Avenue. He moved in on July 1st, 1966, which was 1 month ago. So for the 60th anniversary date of July 13th, July 11th, we had a whole festival here. So you're here in the 60th anniversary year, so it's a very special time to be here. Of course, you all are probably familiar with the story of how Prabhupada met Bhaktisiddhanta, got the instruction to come to the West to preach. If you're in Calcutta, you know that we have possession of Alta Dunga Junction now. So ISKCON owns that property, has renovated it, and this is a memorial that's been set up on top of the roof where Prabhupada met Bhaktisiddhanta. We also in Calcutta have Prabhupada's birthplace now. So you can go there. There's also a memorial at his birthplace under the jackfruit tree. And there's also Bhaktivinoda Asana, Bhakti Bhavan, which is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's home. So they just opened that as a museum also. So one of the things that we're trying to do is procure these places so that pilgrims, devotees from all over the world can come and see where everything started. Prabhupada then went to Vrindavan, Radha Damodar temple, and from there he was meditating on this instruction. And Rupa Goswami, he eventually crossed in the Jaladuta, you know the story, where he had 2 heart attacks and 38 days at sea. Were you there for the gala? You came for the gala also. So like that. Prabhupada eventually made his way to Butler, Pennsylvania, which is the middle of nowhere, with all due respect. New Vrindavan actually is currently renting the property that Prabhupada stayed in when he was there. They're trying to purchase it, so we also own that. But the landlord is reluctant to sell, so we're at least renting it, and I think they're doing monthly programs there. Once a month they hold like sanghas at this place, this house where Prabhupada stayed. So this is where Prabhupada, he was like a complete, you know, you can imagine Prabhupada dressed as a devotee, wearing devotional clothing, coming into Butler, Pennsylvania. it's like everyone was like, well, who is this? You know, he's a Swami, you know, and so he did his first article was in the Butler Eagle. And they entitled it The Ambassador of Bhakti Yoga. So that was Prabhupada's first media in America. Then eventually he left Butler. He came to live with Dr. Mishra. Were you there for the tour in the Upper West Side yesterday? Did you go for that? Yeah. Okay, so you got to see all the places. That's beautiful. Many people just don't know about that. So you got to do the tour. You saw where Prabhupada lived in the apartment building, 100, 140. He wanted to make the first Radha Krishna temple, and then Dr. Mishra's place. So all of that. Prabhupada eventually came down to the Bowery, which you didn't probably get to see, but it's number 94 on the Bowery, which is a loft. He was staying there until this young man he was preaching to, and his hope was he would be the first Western Brahmana. And that boy took some drugs and flipped out, and Prabhupada had to run out of the place in fear for his life. So from that incident, which we can see that sometimes Krishna arranges negative things to happen, so we move life forward. From that, Mukunda Maharaj found this rented storefront property. Often devotees, it's good to mention that the Matchless gift sign that's on the front, that's obviously not the same sign, but that had nothing to do with ISKCON. That was already there.
Oh.
It was already there on the front of the building. But it's amazing how that has become so iconic in ISKCON. It's like you think where it all began, Matchless gifts, and the way that it's written had nothing to do with us at all. It was already there on the front of the building. And Mukunda Maharaj and the devotees who got the property said, Prabhupada, should we take it down? Well, he wasn't Prabhupada, then he was Swamiji. Should we remove the sign? And Swamiji said, no, that's the perfect sign. That's exactly what we're giving, Matchless gifts. So because previously it was a gift shop, it was like a trinket shop, and they were selling things like that. So Matchless gifts, we moved here on the 1st of July. That's when that is. 1st of July, he moved here. I'll tell a little bit more about that. This is the way that it looked just after Prabhupada moved in. Tompkins Square Park, you've been there yet?
Yes.
Okay, good. So Tompkins Square Park is where really Kirtan in the Western world started. And Prabhupada used to go and he would play his little bongo drum, which was a gift from someone. He didn't have a mridanga, he just had his kartals. There it is right there, Prabhupada playing. And he would literally be in the park chanting for 3 to 4 hours a day. Himself just chanting for 3 to 4 hours, non-stop. And one devotee asked him later on, like, Prabhupada, how should we lead kirtan? And he said, you should chant, here it is here, you should chant in such a way that you can go on for hours without ceasing. So like that. So these are all pictures taken from, or in New York, Tompkins Square Park. And then this one devotees really like because this is Prabhupada on the New York subway. So you'll see in his diary how he was regularly taking the subway and going up in town, just trying to see what is American life like, especially in this New York City. This picture was taken circa 1968 and was sent to Prabhupada. You can see by that time they had changed the front of the building. So they took the Matchless gift sign down and they changed it to be more like a temple. You have Jai Veda Swami here in the picture. You have Brahmananda Swami, who was the temple president, has passed away. Umapati Maharaj is there. Burijan Prabhu is there. Then there's two young ladies who are down here, Ekayani Devi and Indira, who's there. So Indira is one of the artists, so I'll show you her painting in a moment. Ekayani was actually Gopal Krishna Maharaj's wife before they separated and he took sannyas, but that was actually his wife. So like that. This is the way that Matchless Gifts wound up looking before they left here. So they moved from here down to number 51 on 2nd Avenue. Then they moved to Brooklyn, to Henry Street. Prabhupada said, he said, Brooklyn is a poor man's temple. Get back to Manhattan. But Henry Street is probably one of the places where they grew a lot from Henry Street. Then they moved back to Manhattan and they wound up with a building I'll show you in a moment. But before they left here, Prabhupada had started traveling. He wasn't here so much. So they changed his Vyasa son to an altar. This deity, Madan Mohan, this deity was donated by a man who had a bell shop here in Manhattan. He donated the deity to the devotees. They started worshiping him. He is now the presiding deity in the Potomac Temple in Washington, D.C. So he moved from when they got Radha Govinda, then he moved to D.C. Prabhupada got them to get a Radharani for him. And now if you go to D.C. to the Potomac Temple, you see 2 years ago, they built this huge marble temple now. He's been there for probably 50 plus years. But now he has a big, massive, purpose-built marble temple in Washington, D.C. and is joined by Gauranitai and Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman. But he started here. So part of the coving of that structure, if you go into the building, you'll see it's really beautiful, very ornate like this. But in the coving, they have little bells in the coving to remember where he came from. So we were just there recently, and because we're doing service here and always pointing him out, we were able to stand in front of him and say, we know where you came from. So it's really sweet. So this is the way that it looked, but this was all early on by 1973 or 4. They had acquired a temple building, a 12-story building on 55th Street. Did you guys go to 55th Street yesterday?
I don't remember.
And okay, I think you didn't because it was only 2 hours. We did a couple of bus tours earlier in the year, and we went by 55th Street. So it's just basically, Prabhupada said, we have a skyscraper building. It was only 12 stories, but compared to this and other things. Here's Prabhupada, just note this, Prabhupada walking out of his apartment at the back through the courtyard. Take note of that wall there that had a birdhouse. He walks in through the door there into this building, and then he comes through that door over there, and he walks over to his Vyasa-san. So like that. Just remember that because we'll talk about it in a minute. So here Prabhupada is on the roof of that building. This is in 1976. This is the first year of the Rath Yatra. So this year we celebrated the 50th anniversary of Rath Yatra in New York. So our Rath Yatra was the 50th. And Prabhupada was on this building. You can see the Empire State Building behind him and all the buildings. There weren't as many skyscrapers in the background then. And he was so happy, he said, we have conquered New York now. And he said, you can put my samadhi on the roof of this building. So like that. So he was so happy. But you can imagine going from this place, which he couldn't even afford the first month's rent, really, to owning a 12-story building on 55th Street, which is right off of 5th Avenue, and a few-minute walk from Central Park. So it's really right in the heart of Midtown, New York City. So it was a great success. Unfortunately, later, around 86, they sold that property. They bought the Brooklyn Temple. They bought the Freeport, Long Island Temple. They bought the Tawako, New Jersey Temple. And they also bought Stuyvesant Farms, which is upstate New York, where now Satsrup Maharaj lives. Ravindra Swarup Prabhu and other devotees were living there. So they bought 4 properties out of that property. So like that. So now the idea is that we're in the exhibition area. So Radhanath Maharaj's vision was that now you step back into 1966. So now we're going back to the way that this room, this area, was in 1966. And we're based it on this picture here of when Srila Prabhupada was here in 66. The painting behind Srila Prabhupada is the original painting. This is original from Jadurani Devi, who was just with us during the 60th anniversary week. Her health is not well. She's much older, but she came from her place down in Florida to be here to share with us about art and so many different things. This is an original Jadurani. So she painted this when she was 19. This is one of the first paintings she ever did. She was asked by Srila Prabhupada, what is your gift? And she said, I'm 19 years old. I have no idea. I guess one of you is probably close to 19, right?
20.
Yes.
So, she was like, I have no idea what my gift is. I'm 19 years old. She said, but I love to paint. And he said, so you should paint for Krishna. So she was the first artist in ISKCON. And now we all know when you look at Prabhupada's books, the pictures, the paintings in the books, like Prabhupada said, they're windows into the spiritual world, but it all really started with her. So 19 years old, this is one of the first ones. This is the young lady I pointed out, Indira. This was painted by her, and if you look at those pictures, you can see how young these ladies were. So Prabhupada was he was the Acharya. He was opening things up. He was allowing young ladies to come and live in the ashrams, undone in India. But in the West, you could see they didn't really have so much shelter at home. They were out doing so many things. So he gave them shelter. She was 16 years old when she painted this. She now also is much more of a professional. She has a textile business, art business that she's been conducting for many, many years. You can see they took this picture to the airport to greet Prabhupada when he came back from San Francisco in the 67, so like that. So now I'll try to speed things along because I know you all want to get on. This is the door, same door, hasn't been changed. This is the door Srila Prabhupada used to walk through. So, and we can just step outside, you can all come. But we should keep our voices down because we don't want to disturb all the other neighbors. So these two windows, this is Srila Prabhupada's apartment. So this is where he stayed. And this is from the video that you saw. That's why I drew your attention. So he would come out of that door, walk across the courtyard. Now take notice of the courtyard. In New York City, to have a courtyard like this this is so much space. Probably a square foot in New York City is worth $1,000. So this is many square feet, and what to speak of the space going up. But this is a courtyard Prabhupada access to. This building didn't exist. This building was only built about 5 or 6 years ago. Before that, it was a gas station next door. So Prabhupada would have all this light, and suddenly he would come in here. This was the wall that you saw when he walked across. There was a bird house and a bird bath, a bird feeder there. So there's a picture inside I'll show it to you in just a moment that was taken out here. So all of this space was very similar to if you went to Vrindavan many years ago. Had you been to Vrindavan many years ago? How long ago did you go?
98.
98? Okay, so you were there before they put the covering over the Radha Damodar temple.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Have you been back
No,
since?
No.
Okay. So now they've covered it all over. So when it rains and everything, everyone can still stay inside. It's actually very different. But it used to be very much like this, right? Srila Rupa Goswami's Samadhi, and the Samadhis are all outside, and Prabhupada gave many lectures there in the early 70s. So it was really a nice space for Prabhupada to have access to. And of course, when they would have the Sunday feasts, all the devotees would bring their prasadam plates out here and make a big mess and a lot of noise to annoy everybody in the building, like the Hare Krishnas usually do. These two windows here, that's Prabhupada's room. So you can take these two. Some people are renting. All of these, you can see these are all apartments. So 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So you can do the mass 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 15 back here, and not that many in the front because the
This
front
property belongs to ISKCON?
No, we don't own anything.
Only the first one.
We don't even own that. We're
He's
renting.
also renting.
Yeah, it's all rented, so like that. So we can go back inside, keep things moving. But this also would have been the exact same floor that Prabhupada walked on. None of it has been changed. So Prabhupada has his own mailbox here. So, next thing to draw your attention to is you might know the story from Leelamrita of the homeless man that came in the middle of the Sunday feast lecture, and everyone turned to look at him, and he was carrying a roll of, no one knows, toilet paper. And he walked through everyone, and he came up here, and Prabhupada was sitting right here, and he said, Swamiji, you're out of toilet paper. And he opened the door, and he went in, and he put the toilet paper in the bathroom, because this is a little bathroom here. There also used to be a little sink on this side that sometimes Prabhupada would, he would eat something and he would spit the seeds over in the sink. But the sink isn't there anymore. So all of the different, all the toilet and everything's been changed. It's not the same, but it is that space. After the second initiations, the first initiations happened for Janmashtami of 1966. Then the second initiations happened Radhastami 1966. This letter is November 25th, 1966. Prabhupada had them post this notice on this door, which tells the initiated devotees what they have to do. So you can take a picture of that and look at that later, because many of them didn't really know what they were supposed to do. They just thought, we love Swamiji, we'll take initiation, he's our guru. So like that. This is a exact replica of the bongo drum that Srila Prabhupada used to play. The original is in New Vrindavan. So they have the original one, it's still with us. But we worked with them to be able to make an exact replica in hopes that one day the actual original will be sitting here. But, we'll see how that works out. Prabhupada Murti came last year in June. Before that, the picture that's hanging on the wall there has been here since 1990. That was representing Prabhupada until Srila Prabhupada personally came last year. This is a original also from Jadurani. So one more that's here from her. This side of the room is, and all of these were here, and you can see in the picture. So these pictures are from 1966, 67. And this wall, this was their altar wall. So the devotees erected this and made this like an altar. Prabhupada's Vyasasan was over there, and then this was the altar. You can see in the picture they would offer fruits to this picture, which is the first one of the first pictures that would have been taken of Srila Prabhupada. And where was it taken? Outside in the courtyard, along that wall that I pointed out to you, with the birdhouse and the bird feeder. So that's one of the first pictures ever taken of Srila Prabhupada. Then the picture of Panchatattva. These are copies. These are not the originals. We're still working to try to find those and get them. One thing you can notice in the picture is that there is also, if you look closely, you'll see it is a record player. So over here is a record player. Now, probably some of you have never even seen a record player. we get this all the time, especially youngsters. So this is the first record, often referred to in ISKCON as the Happening Album. Now, I always thought that it was called the Happening Album because it was literally called the Happening Album. In the 60s, happening was like a cool word. Like a happening was like a sangha of people who got together and hung out and did cool stuff, you know. Or you could say, this party is so cool, it's really happening. You know, so it was like a terminology. But the album is not called Happening. Happening is the name of the record company who recorded it. And because Prabhupada's chanting had become so popular in the park and here that they said we should record this chanting. So they invited him to come to their studio in Times Square. They had 3 different ones, but the devotees all went one day to Times Square where they had a studio and they recorded the album. Some interesting points. At that point, the only thing they had was the bongo drum for percussion. But the day before they were meant to go and record the night program, some guy showed up and he had a mridanga.
Wow.
Like out of nowhere, it just showed up and they were like, wow, what's that? And Prabhupada said, that's a mridanga. And then he took it and immediately started playing and they were like, oh my God. And he said, you should ask him to bring it to the recording studio tomorrow. Let us borrow it. He wouldn't let them borrow it. He said, but I'll go there with you and you can use it. So then on the recording, Prabhupada got to use a mridanga to record his first thing. So we like to play this for the devotees when they come. So, and often people record this because they don't really ever see albums being played. Of course, these days a lot of people do get record players and they buy vinyl because the understanding is this is much better than playing some digital sound. So we can listen.
Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnava
So we've probably all heard this so many times, but this is where it came from, 1966, in the whole very beginning of the whole New York program. There's a couple of quick things. So these are different media milestones, but one thing I like to show devotees is this is a copy of the Village Voice, which was one of the popular newspapers, like probably the most popular in the Lower East Side. Village meaning Greenwich Village or East Village, but this lower East Side. This one is from Thursday, June 23rd, 1966.
Wow.
And then this is the newspaper where Mukunda Maharaj found the advertisement for 26 Second Avenue. So for those of you who are a little younger, there used to be a thing called newspapers. You don't go online, you don't get it through your Insta feed, you don't get it like in this way. People would actually go through and look and see what they could get studios and stuff like that. So then these are different articles. And then we have the incorporation documents. So these were signed on July 13th, 1966. No, they were signed on July 11th, 1966. here in this room. Prabhupada had the lawyer come in and he just asked people, okay, everyone can sign, you know, and they're like, international society, like we're just in a small storefront on the Lower East Side, you know. Prabhupada said, no, you can sign, and then he started inviting devotees to come up, starting with Michael Grant, who was, or is, Mukunda Maharaj, Jan Oslin, who was his wife at that time, but who is Janaki, Yamuna Devi's sister, and then James Green, and then there's an interesting name here, Paul Gardner. So who is Paul Gardner? Paul Gardner is the estate agent who came here to show Prabhupada this place. And Prabhupada was with Mukunda and Carl Green, and he said, Prabhupada said to him, you seem like a very intelligent man. You should be a member of our society. Now, at that point, ISKCON didn't exist. But Prabhupada told him he should be he said, these boys are also members of the society and they all give $20 a month. So you can also give $20 a month. And the man was like, what? And then Prabhupada gifted him a set of his books. And then he said, okay. So then he agreed to actually give $20 a month. And then he became one of the signatories on the original document. So that man's life transformed forever. We don't know what happened to him or where he is, but anyway, like that. And there's this beautiful book. We did have copies for sale, but it's out of print, so we've run out at the moment. But I like to read. This is all Prabhupada's handwriting.
Wow.
This is a copy of the diary that he brought. You can see that he was keeping copy of the collection made out of contribution books 28 and expenditure 115. He was keeping track of different amounts of expenditure, like his ledger and everything like that.
Is there any way we could order it?
If you want, then you're in Calgary, so you can, if you let me know, then when we get them in stock again, I can arrange to send one to you.
Okay.
So you leave your details with me. This one is really good. According to the Mayapur Panjika, today is the Adivas of Gaur Purnim. So Prabhupada is keeping track. You can see sunset, sunrise, moonrise, everything he's keeping track of. And he knows that it's the day before Gaur Purnim. March 6, 1966 was the day before Gaur Purnim in Mayapur. He says, the devotees in Vrindavan and Navadvip are enjoying the celebration, and I am here alone without any devotee companion. But I have come here to serve the Lord and not for personal happiness. I am prepared to live in hell even if I am able to serve the Lord. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted that his mission should be propagated all over the world, and that is my objective. I do not mind the inconvenience personally felt. So this is Prabhupada's mood, and he was writing this March 6, 1966. It was before the incorporation of ISKCON and before he had moved in here. He was living with Dr. Mishra and the Upper West Side. So this was Srila Prabhupada's mood. So that basically concludes the Torah. I don't know if anyone was keeping track how long that took, but it's around 20 minutes.
28 minutes.
There you go.
Wow.
So,
Nice.
so
I have a question.
Yes.
Prabhupada's mailbox.